This is an ad by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? It's hard to make time for the things that keep you healthy. But being consistent with self-care is like working a muscle. And when life gets crazy, that muscle keeps you strong. Therapy is the ultimate self-care. And BetterHelp makes it easy to get started with affordable online sessions you can do from anywhere. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 261. The extremely lovely Katy Steele joins us on the podcast today in support of her brand new record, Big Star. It came out on Friday and it is a brilliant record with some sonic nods to the 80s and some fantastic songwriting by Katy and her partner Graeme. Before we get into today's episode, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your pods from, and follow us across all of our socials, whether that be Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. Links for all can be found in the episode show notes. Our guest today is Katy Steele. For anyone born in the 80s or 90s, the name Katy Steele is synonymous with the indie rock band Little Birdy. Gaining popularity in the 2000s, the rock band from Perth immediately struck a chord with music lovers for a multitude of reasons, but I think that Katy's distinctive voice was one of the strongest of them. The band's former frontwoman struck out on her own in 2016 with her debut record, Human, and last week returned with her second studio record, which is entitled Big Star. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic when I say I think that this record is going to be one of the best Australian albums released this year. Katy and her husband Graeme wrote this record together and it pays homage to both the sound of the 80s and to artists like The Weeknd, and it kind of perfectly straddles the line between both. In today's episode, we're talking to Katy about what it was like working with her husband for the first time in a musical and professional sense. We talk about how this record is a brand new chapter in the musical life of Katy Steele and kind of where these influences came from. We discuss how fans and ways to interact have changed over the last 20 years, with TikTok playing a part in that. And then we also discuss how touring has changed now that Katy is a mum. Speaking of touring, she is heading out on a huge tour around the country next month in July. We've included all the details of that tour in today's show notes, so you can go ahead and purchase tickets and catch these brilliant songs live. We've also made sure that links where you can stream and buy the record are in the show notes, so please make sure you get onto that after listening to this episode. We do want to say a massive thank you to Shari from Great Company Collective for her help with today's episode. Here is our conversation with Katy Steele. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Katy Steele. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
How are you today, Katy?
Good, yeah. Just good. Just been trying to record a couple of live songs for Rolling Stone, and the gear is complicated, so we haven't started that yet, but we're doing that after this, I'm sure. But yeah, really busy at the moment.
Of course. There's a brilliant brand new record out by yourself for anyone who might have missed it, but hopefully they haven't. The record is Big Star. It is out now. It is I want to say, and please correct me if any of these words you might not agree with, I want to say it's a big, bombastic kind of love affair to the 80s in a record. It is a lovely record. So congratulations, firstly, on this album.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks.
How are you finding the reaction and the reception to the album so far?
Yeah, really good so far. Yeah, it's only been like 3 days, or maybe 4 days. So far the reaction's been amazing. Everyone seems to like really be loving it. But yeah, it's early days, and we've still got like still kind of finalising like the live show and stuff. So there's always like stuff to do. But yeah, I guess that's a good way of describing it. It's definitely like a love affair with the 80s. I definitely agree with that.
Sonically, it is a gorgeous record. It's very, I would say, 80s tinged, but in the best way possible. And it's somewhat of a departure. I want to say that Human, the previous solo record from yourself, had elements of that, but this is fully committed. Was there a decision, I guess, from the get-go that you wanted to sonically change your sound, or did it kind of evolve as the album came about?
Yeah, it just kind of happened naturally. I was kind of planning on going into a studio and just getting like a bunch of singers and doing like a real kind of mellow record. Kind of changed, obviously, but it was super organic. It was me and my partner. He hadn't really done any production before, and we kind of just started tinkering, and yeah, it turns out he's a really good producer. So it's just like us writing the songs together, searching, creating, like a lot of experimenting, a lot of back and forth with songs. Like some songs had like 3 or 4 versions. I'm not even exaggerating. Like I wish I could play them to you right now. Falling Apart started off as like a full up tempo, influenced by like The Weeknd and like, that real sound that's out at the moment, like, just up tempo 80s, I guess. And, it was like 2 months ago that we hadn't finished that song. It was all very like down to the wire with this record. And then, it was literally like the night before the deadline, we finished that song. So, it's been it's a bit of a relief, to be honest, to get the album out, because it's been a real challenge, I guess, and it's been a real labour of love. Like we kind of didn't leave any stone unturned, and we weren't, we're really, I guess, hard on ourselves on what the standard was going to be, and that just happened naturally as well. I think we're both like, quite picky, or I guess we just wanted to make an amazing record. But at the time you just kind of like, it's a lot to make a whole record all by yourself. Like, that's why we struggled. It was, we didn't have a label, I don't have a publisher right now. Like, I don't really have, I kind of bounce off my brother Luke and bounce off like family members and stuff. But, generally we're pretty insular, we just kind of like hold ourselves away and went for it. And yeah, it's been pretty hard, like, emotionally to get it across the line. So I'm glad that people are enjoying it.
It is. It is. I will continue to sing the praises of it. I think it's also, anyone who's listening will be able to find, we'll make sure that the album and where you can buy it, stream it, everything is in the links to this podcast. It's also Double J's album of the week, I believe. But have you found that obviously in the time that you've been within the industry, as we're discussing, as we're talking today, I can see a Little Birdy plaque behind you in that room. And then there's obviously your solo project now. With the freedom that comes with being an independent artist in 2023, I know you just mentioned there that certain challenges, but do you find that it does work in your favour? Is it something that you prefer to kind of have this freedom to be able to create on your own schedule, on your own time?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've talked about that a bit. Like, we just had no, as hard as that was, it was fucking awesome to be able to just do whatever the hell you wanted. Like, and that's what we did. And we've never expected anyone to even like this record, because we just didn't even think it was that, like, we didn't think it was amazing. We just did what we thought was the best for the song. And like I said, like when we started, Graeme wasn't and he still doesn't even, if you spoke to him right now, he probably wouldn't consider himself a producer, but he clearly is, because he's absolutely nailed it. We had people helping, like we had our live drummer playing some of the songs, we had backing singers, and we had an amazing guy come in and play synths, Josiah. We had people adding elements, but, at the end of the day, me and Graeme were the ones sitting there, like, going through all the, like, there's just, like, thousands of, like, different takes of things, and, like, it's a lot of work to really, just scour through all the stuff that you have. And like I said, you've got 3 different versions of songs. You've got this, you've got that. Like, you don't want to know. That it is amazing. Like, I think now what you can do by yourselves, and it is kind of really cool. Like, it makes you just feel so proud when you do put it out and people are like, this is amazing. And it's like, you know what, we did this all by ourselves. Like, and, there's a real power in that, and there's a real power in, social media now, which there's another side to that as well. It kind of feels like you've been working 2 years on a record and you're like, it all comes down to this one Instagram post, and we struggle with that a bit. It's a bit like, what? This is how everyone finds out about my music now, is, through this one way. But that's not really true exactly. Like, you've still got radio, you've still got TV, you've still got ways of people finding your music. But yeah, it is, there's pluses and minuses, I think, to everything. Sometimes you just miss the good old days as well.
I can very much appreciate that. I think, speaking of things boiling down to like a post on a social media app, there was and I won't hark on this for a long point, but I think there was a viral video going around in the last few weeks of yourself and a gentleman who you might have been filming a music video for this record, and he's come up and recognised you as Little Birdy, and just seems to he refers to you as Little Birdy yourself, and then seems to just kind of lose his cool as obviously he's a big fan. Have you found that, I guess, in both ways that social media works, that has been a bit of a blessing in a certain way of younger people finding your music through Little Birdy, your solo music through things like that?
TikTok, yeah. I mean, it's kind of gone semi-viral. I don't know how much that has, like...
Jewelry can say many things on your wedding day. As a wedding band, it can say, "This is a forever symbol of our forever love." As a gift to your wedding party, it can say, "Thanks for standing up there with us." Blue Nile can help you find the piece that says it all, and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
I think that's the thing about TikTok. It's kind of like, things like this happen, and you're like, well, does it really matter? It's something to talk about, but it's like, well, has anyone found my music from that? Who knows? But it's funny. It was really funny, and everything helps these days, I guess, because the market is just so crowded. You could spend $1 million on promoting a record, and how many people would even see that? The algorithms, and there's so many things now to consider, so many things that make it hard, and then there's so many things that make it easier. So it's really just about, what we keep telling ourselves is this is just the first of many records. Like, we're not going anywhere. We've got like a really good work ethic, and we've got a really good, plan for like all the new music that we want to keep doing. So it's kind of like, I kind of just see this record as like a rebirth record, really. Like the first of, just feels like the start of a new chapter, and it feels awesome. Yeah.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Before you mentioned working with Graeme, your partner, on the record, was this the first time you guys had collaborated in like I guess a professional sense? What spawned that on? What brought that idea on?
Well, it was like COVID kind of happened, so we were just kind of at home, and we'd had set up a home studio, and we just kind of started tinkering, and like it happened super naturally. Just started buying more gear. Like, we were stuck in Perth, in this, we couldn't leave, but we were also like free to kind of live our lives, like not so different to what you guys were going through on the East Coast, and the rest of the world. We were kind of stuck in this little paradise, but it was strange because like the rest of the world was, going through this crazy, part of their lives that, we've never seen anything like this in our lifetime. And so we just kind of, we had more time, I guess. Like we bought a lot of gear, so we were experimenting. Like we bought a Juno, we bought all kinds of stuff, mics and synths, and we'll just trying stuff. And then it just kind of like Feel So Bad was probably one of the first songs that, I started, both realised, I guess, that Graeme's got a good knack for writing like cool guitar riffs, which is something that I obviously never do. So that song's all about that cool riff, and Don't Leave Your Light On or Die Low's got a really cool riff as well. So it was kind of just super organic, and he's got really good taste. So he's kind of really brought that in. I like to think I've got good taste too, but I think he's kind of brought that 80s thing, and I think he's quite tasteful with how he's brought that in. And then I'm quite picky as well with like sonically, like what I like. So I think it's a good balance. Yeah, I think we obviously work pretty well together. So.
Well, I would agree with that. With the end result that we've received, I would agree. The record, it has a number of highlights. I want to be slightly selfish and ask about my favourite track if possible. It was The End Is Near. I thought that just encapsulated everything on the album.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because like that's fully what we thought as well. Like when we got Dave Hammer on board to mix, that was the first song that he mixed. He only mixed 7 tracks, but he just sent the mix back, and we were like, oh my God, like he loved that song as well. And I feel like it's like a real placeholder for the rest of the record. It's kind of like it really does, I don't know, somehow sum up sonically like the whole thing. I don't know, but
exactly. I when listening to it, I listened to the record a few times in a row, which we were very kind enough to get before it came out, and it just was. I kept coming back to that track. I think that track is the record in a 3 to 4 minute pop song, which is fantastic.
Cool. Yeah. I think it was funny because when we did that one, it's one of the simplest ones, and it, it's just like that. It's like an SV2. I've got like a core keyboard, and it's just that sound with a bit of chorus, I think. And I don't know. I think it must have been like the first time that Graeme just kind of finally understood, like, like the sonics of what he was doing, and I think he just like nailed it on that song. And then we just didn't really like touch it. We're like, yep, that one's done, like, because some of them just have taken fucking forever. But that was one of the ones that was like the most simple, and it was cool because I wrote that. I did a demo of that, and it was just on piano, and it sounds cool like that as well. I guess as well, the thing about that song is it's a good song. It's a simple song, so it works kind of. It would work in most ways, I think, quite well. But like we were totally going for that. Cyndi Lauper, there's another song I heard the other day that's a full reference. Cyndi Lauper, there's a Kim Wilde song called You Came, and it's like those high like a lot of those tracks use those high bell. Like I just love all that stuff. Like I'm always like, there's bells on there. Love those kind of tones.
The track also does it without a way that I feel, I know you mentioned The Weeknd before, and I know that there's a few artists that use kind of 80s as an inspiration today. There was never a time where it felt unnatural or overused, or that it seemed out of place. It seemed to just be this lovely organic evolution of the song, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Like, again, that's Graeme kind of saying like, it's got to be like tasteful, and I think we both have always agreed that, you know, we didn't want to do anything too 80s or too nostalgic, because, you know, it still has to sit in like this modern world. Like we weren't doing this, I think they call it throwbacks. We weren't trying to do that. We didn't want to emulate the 80s. It's like we just wanted to be influenced by those tones because they're so dreamy and like it's kind of like it's an influence, but it's still, you know, a big thing that I always say is like, you know, we were trying to go for that nostalgia where it's like, you're like, I feel like I've heard this before, but I haven't. It's like then you want to hear it again, and it makes you. Hopefully, it makes you feel. You know, hopefully, it makes you create. Like this is what the biggest thing is. Like music should just make you create new memory. Like it should be a part of your life at the time when you hear it. You know, and our drummer, we sent him the record, and he was in Thailand when he heard it, and he's like, so glad I heard this. This is my soundtrack for my Thailand holiday. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it has to fit in your life and hopefully, you know, it's like a good smell. Like a good smell just reminds you of that time that you first smelled that smell. I don't know. You know what I mean?
100%. It. What was it? I think the third or fourth time I listened to it, I had it on in the car, and it was also it's a fantastic driving record for anyone who. I'm not sure. We're in Adelaide at the moment, and the weather is a little bit overcast. But for a good driving day, it's definitely a windows down, sun's out kind of a record.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We were totally trying to get that vibe. That's cool that you said that.
I know you mentioned before the live show is, I guess, can we expect that same kind of vibe? Are we going to have a full band on this upcoming tour?
Yeah, it's going to be like me plus 3 people. So Graeme will be playing in the band, and then two other guys. It's going to hopefully sound exactly like the record. So yeah, there's magic ways we can do that now.
Are you excited about getting out there and playing some of these songs?
Yeah, super excited. Yeah, it's sounding amazing already. There's 3 songs from the record we haven't learnt yet, so we've got to get on that pretty quick sticks. But other than that, yeah, it's sounding amazing. My new drummer as well, he's going to be singing as well. Like I've never had many vocalists in the band, which always. But Graeme's scattered throughout the record. He features on End Is Near and Feel So Bad and a couple of songs. And I've got to get him singing as well. He's a bit shy, so I've got to get him. He's got to just get more comfortable.
I'm sure a little bit of liquid courage and audience participation and cheering him on will get him sorted.
Yeah, exactly. Graeme! Got to get the crowd screaming his name before we go out.
We'll be coming to see you when you're here in Adelaide, I think, in a few
cool.
weeks. So very excited to see both yourself and Graeme now that we know that he'll be there.
Yeah.
Has I guess probably a bit of a silly or obvious question, but obviously in the time between Little Birdy and even Human and then touring now, I imagine that things have changed. You do have children now. I imagine the dynamic and how you operate touring would be a very different beast from what it was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's very different now. I mean, to be honest, I haven't really been on a tour in a while because COVID was, took 2.5, 3 years of all of our lives. The last tour I did, my child was 4 months old, so my mum came on the road and was a nanny, and that was great because she was a baby and she just slept like the whole time. But yeah, they're definitely at different ages now, so they're going to be staying back here, and we're just kind of doing like a FIFO, like flying in and flying out. So it makes it super expensive, but it's kind of the only way you can do it. So that's what's happening with us. But yeah, it'd be hard to leave them, but it's also my job. So
of course, and I think the FIFO way, I think we've spoken to a number of artists who have young children and obviously people that they need to be around for, and it is kind of the having mum and dad on the road for a number of weeks just isn't a plausible thing anymore, and it just makes sense to do so. So I know that there's a lot of people excited to see yourself on the road. I know we mentioned just before about whether there's any excitement. Is there anything that I guess that you maybe haven't missed about being on the road, or that definitely you're glad that it's been a while between tours?
Definitely the flight costs are not something I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
It's so expensive to tour right now, so it's it's a little bit scary, I guess, because people are quite slow to buy tickets. So that's kind of, it's just different. That's different. Back in the day it was like people would just buy tickets like straight away and all that. But no, I mean, I just miss connecting with everyone. Like it's been, I've got some seriously amazingly loyal hardcore fans that, I just want to sing for them and, want to kind of reach a new audience as well. I feel like this record is really kind of destined to meet a whole other audience that haven't even heard of me yet. And that's been happening a lot on social media recently. It's a lot of people like, man, I've never heard of you before. This is like amazing. And that's the whole goal. Like, I'm not really looking to reach the Little Birdy fan base anymore, because it's a whole different thing. This is like a new phase. And I think like if I do pull it off, it'd be bloody amazing, because there's a lot of solo artists that go on, and it's really hard to lose that label of the band that you were once in, especially in Australia. So hopefully it just keeps moving in that direction of, reaching new fans, probably a younger audience as well, I'd say. And hopefully just through touring and playing lots of festivals, it's the way it's going to happen.
100%. I don't want to steal your own words, but I think a quote that you said earlier in this interview, in terms of this album being a big, brand new refresh almost, or like a new chapter.
Rebirth, I said, yeah.
Rebirth, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Where I think that's definitely, and obviously there's a lot of love for Little Birdy, and so there should be a brilliant group and a lot of fantastic songwriting, but I think that this record as well is an exciting new step for yourself. And personally, as a fan, very excited to see where this step takes you, because I'm sure, look, I realise that it might be coming across as a little bit sucking up or whatever, but I'm sure that this album at the end of the year is going to be one of the best Aussie albums that is released this year. So,
thanks. I hope so. That'd be good. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Look, we'll have you back on at the end of the year, and I'm sure my word is still going to be true and that I stand by that.
You got to put money on it. Let's put money on it.
Look, if it is not, there will be. I'll get in contact with the lovely Shari, and there'll be a crisp 50 sent from Adelaide to Perth. Done.
The pineapple? You're going to send me a pineapple?
We'll get a pineapple sorted.
Yeah. Awesome.
Katy, usually would ask our guests what they're currently listening to. Is there anything at the moment that is on high rotation in your household?
Well, we play a lot of Harry Styles just because, my daughter likes it, and I really like it too. I think he's awesome. He works with all the best producers, so it sounds awesome. But yeah, we were listening to I don't know. She wants to listen to Aqua all the time. Barbie, I'm a Barbie girl. That's been getting played a lot around the house. But in terms of adult music, man, I don't even know, because I've just been so busy working on this release. I don't know. I like that new Post Malone song. I reckon he's cool, man. Got some cool songs. For generic pop, he's pretty cool. I don't know. I can't really think right now. I should probably. Can I just quickly look at my Spotify?
Of course, yeah. Please.
That's not Big Star. Recently played, My Record, Post Malone, Barbie Girl. That's about it. Actually, it's probably going to be getting announced like in the next 2 days, but we've got Morton supporting for like Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, so I've been listening to her a lot. She's really good.
Oh, awesome. We will make sure that we put her music as well in the show notes of this episode, as well as where people can find the tour dates for yourself and where to purchase and stream Big Star.
Awesome.
Katy, thank you so much for your time today. I do appreciate it, and thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The most powerful designer drugs are the digital ones we use daily. And we get high off them. When touch, tap, like, scroll at a time. You know, just like tech creators want us to. Use digital without digital using you. Learn more at sync.ithra.com.